Hi, I'm Virgil. Welcome to Blue Grotto. This video covers what you need to know before diving here. If you are like most of our guests, you're watching this video online before coming to Blue Grotto. If so, that's good. It will save you time when you get here. Here is something else you can do to save time. Download our liability release from the website and have it filled out before you get here. When doing so, you can do us a big favor by not filling out the waiver by hand. Instead, open it in Adobe Acrobat and fill it out there. This will help ensure that we can actually read it. If you are part of a class, give your completed and signed waiver to your instructor. Otherwise, turn in your completed waiver form when you check in at the store. When you arrive at the grotto, where you should go will depend on whether or not you are part of a group, such as a scuba class. If you are part of a larger group, find out from your instructor if they have reserved a pavilion. If they have, park either immediately next to the pavilion or in the area behind it. Just don't park in the middle between pavilions, as doing so may prevent others from getting through. If you are not part of a group that has a reserved pavilion, park near the dive center. If need be, you will find waivers and rental forms in the rack on the wall next to the TV. When ready, bring your completed forms in and check in at the counter. If you need rental equipment, your next stop will be here. At the rental department, a Blue Grotto staff member will help you get fitted for items such as BCs and wetsuits, as well as to issue tanks, weights, and anything else you need. You will return these items here when done. Just be aware you must do so before 3:30. If you need fills, get the appropriate number of fill tokens at the dive center. Turn these in when you bring your tanks to the fill station. If you are not part of a group with a reserved pavilion, your next step is to find a place to park. If available, you can park at any of the pavilions that do not have a reserved sign on them. But unless you have several people in your group, be willing to share this with others. You can also park next to any of the empty picnic tables. If there are no pavilions or picnic tables available, you can also park directly across from the fill station. Almost any place you park will be equally close to the water. The most common question we get from first-time visitors to Blue Grotto is, where are the bathrooms? They are right here, in this large building, centrally located to everything. There are separate men's and ladies' rooms, and you will find warm showers both inside and outside. But do us a favor. Help us keep the bathhouse clean by rinsing your wetsuit boots before entering. The stairs leading to the water is immediately adjacent to the bathhouse and pavilions. At the bottom, you will find a large deck with tank racks and benches. From here, a ramp leads to our floating dock. It's a good idea to walk down and get a feel for where everything is before you suit up. The floating dock is where you enter the water. You can do so either by using the stairs or making a giant stride. The outside sections of the dock are where you can put additional cylinders, extra weights, and masks and fins. After placing or removing these items, be sure to put the rope back in place. This is so that someone wearing a tank doesn't accidentally wander out, lose their balance, and fall in. Keep the area between the stairs open so that divers making giant stride entries won't trip on loose items or accidentally kick these items into the water. If making a giant stride, we recommend you start by holding onto the rail on the left side of the dock while donning fins. You can then use the rail to steady yourself while moving to the edge of the dock. Water in the grotto is a constant 72 degrees year-round. Although this is room temperature in air, in water it feels more like 40 degrees. Most people need at least a full-length 5mm wetsuit to be comfortable. Once you enter the water, the first thing you will notice are the large training platforms. These are used primarily by students and instructors. Beyond these is the cavern entrance. This is the grotto's main feature. Anyone who dives in Florida's springs needs to know the difference between caverns and caves. Both are natural overhead environments. Both prevent you from being able to make a direct ascent to the surface. But it's here the similarity ends. When in a cavern, you can see daylight at all times. This means you always know which way is out, and you'll never be far from breathable air at the surface. While caverns are relatively safe, underwater caves can be exceptionally dangerous. They have claimed the lives of hundreds of divers who thought the rules did not apply to them. If you can't see the exit clearly, you are no longer in a cavern, you are in a cave. In a cave, a silt-out or light failure can leave you in total darkness with no clear indication of where the exit is. And even if the water remains clear, you won't be able to see daylight to guide you to safety. Blue Grotto is one of just 4 sites in north-central Florida widely considered safe for any certified diver, even if they lack formal cavern diver certification. To do this, however, you must not only keep the exit clearly in sight, but also one of the 2 large guidelines that lead to the exit. You must also not go past any of the Grim Reaper signs that mark the edge of the daylight zone, or go deeper than 65 feet. The only persons who may go past these limits are certified cave divers and students under direct cave diving instructor supervision. You'll find several interesting things inside the cavern. To start, there are the statues. The jovial Elmer the elephant stands guard on the right wall of the cavern near the entrance. You will find Melissa the mermaid in the center of the cavern, just back from where visiting divers build stone castles. Daryl the dolphin is Blue Grotto's largest statue. You will find him on the left side of the cavern near the back. At the very front of the cavern on the left-hand side is Molly the mama manatee and her 2 babies. You may also come across Brassy the brass turtle. In the center of the cavern is Castle Rock. Here you can build your own stone castle. Just over from Castle Rock is a large wood pile capped by the remains of a stump that clung tenaciously to the edge of the cliff overlooking the water. Near the front of the cavern is our air bell. We pump in fresh air from the surface, but it's not a bad idea to keep your regulator in when surfacing inside. Just remember that the bell is filled with compressed air. You must resume normal breathing when you exit. Arguably, the best part of the cavern is what nature provides. Don't miss the opportunity to enjoy the view from the back of the cavern looking out toward the entrance. It can be breathtaking. Straight up from the large boulder on the right corner of the cavern is one of 2 bedding planes. These form at the boundaries between different layers of limestone. If you bounce your light off the air pockets on the ceiling, you can experience some stunning visual effects. You will find an even more extensive bedding plane on the ceiling, immediately behind the air bell. Don't miss it. We shouldn't have to say this, but carving or defacing rocks or cave formations is a first-degree misdemeanor in Florida. There is more to see and do in Blue Grotto than just explore the cavern. On sunny days, you can see rays of light streaming from above. When the light hits the bottom, it will appear to dance on platforms, sand, and rocks. When you first enter the water, you may be greeted by several dozen bluegills. They are extremely curious and may follow you into the cavern or rush to see you when you exit. Another fish you may see are our catfish. They tend to be shy and reclusive. The large fish you will see are tilapia. The less mature ones are a medium gray and often lie on the bottom. The mature tilapia are nearly white and will either be out swimming around or guarding their spawning nests. If you approach slowly and carefully, you can get surprisingly close. You may also see the solitary Carly the koi. She is the grotto's largest fish. Now it's time to talk about me. The real me, not the AI-generated version. You will quickly discover that I'm friendly, curious, and love to interact with people. Despite what people often assume, I am not a snapping turtle. Rather, I'm what is known as a Florida softshell turtle. My beak is more like that of a bird than it is a snapping turtle. In the wild, softshell turtles are very shy and reclusive. I am anything but. As with all animals, don't approach or chase me. Let me come to you. I may want to sniff your fingers or hand as a way of getting acquainted. You can feed me, but human food may make me sick. There is turtle-safe food available in the dive center. While it is possible to feed me underwater, the fish will often get more food than I do. You will have better luck feeding me at the surface. A good way to do this is to wait until you see my head above water. Hold your food cup in plain sight while placing a bent arm in front of you. I will recognize what you are holding, and before you know it, you may have little turtle paws resting on your arm. This will allow me to get the food with very little going to the fish. Just remember to hold the cup tightly so that I do not swim off with it. Bear in mind, the grotto can be very busy at times, with dozens of divers entering and exiting. If divers need to enter or exit, vacate the stairs. It's okay, I'll understand. By the way, I'm not the only turtle in the grotto. You may see my little buddy Turbo. Turbo is also a soft-shell turtle. He has become very comfortable around people, but unlike me, he has never learned how to interact with humans. So, if you see a smaller, darker version of me underwater, don't try to feed him. He has yet to learn the difference between food and fingers. The exceptional visibility is one of the main things that draws divers to Blue Grotto. But the water will remain clear only if you do your part. The floor of the cavern is very silty and easily disturbed. And once disturbed, the silt will remain in suspension for hours. It's important to understand that there is nothing to see on the cavern floor. All the things that make the cavern interesting are either on top of the boulders at the back of the cavern or up near the ceiling. So, there's never any reason to get even remotely close to the bottom. Because if you do, you will ruin the visibility, not only for yourself, but for everyone else as well. You should never be closer to the bottom than the 2 guidelines. It is better to be well above these. The keys to doing your part to keep the cavern crystal clear are buoyancy control and horizontal trim. Among the things that make diving in open water so safe is the fact that even if you bottom out your tank, you can still make it to the surface by slowly exhaling whenever you can't inhale. Being in an overhead environment, however, robs you of this ability. It is why good gas management is so important. You must have enough gas in reserve to not only make it out of the cavern, but to deal with problems such as loss of visibility, buddy separation, the buddy who can't seem to read his pressure gauge. Here's what we recommend. When you hit 1500 psi, start heading for the exit. Make sure you are back in open water with at least 1,000 pounds remaining. And as with any dive, be back on the surface with at least 500 psi remaining. Here are the most important things to remember. Before arriving, download the waiver from our website and complete it in Acrobat. Part of a group? Give your completed waiver to your instructor. Otherwise, turn it in when you check in at the dive center. Remember to keep the cavern entrance and one of the 2 guidelines in sight at all times. Do not go past any of the Grim Reaper signs or deeper than 65 feet. Stay well away from the bottom. The most interesting things are near the ceiling, not the floor. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just ask.